Have you ever landed on a website and it just feels perfect? You know, it's lightning fast, super interactive, and everything just works? Well, that's not magic. It's actually the result of decades of problem solving and innovation. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and take a look at the journey from a simple text file to the powerful, sleek web apps we use every single day.
Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to start at the very beginning, with the absolute fundamentals of the web. Then we'll see what happens when things start to get a little out of hand. After that, we'll bring in the hero of our story, a tool called React and its awesome sidekick, next.js. And finally, we'll put it all together to see how the modern web is really built.
You know, it doesn't matter if it's a simple little blog or a massive social media site. Every single website you visit is built on the exact same 3 core technologies. So let's start there and figure out what they are and how they actually work together. So what does it really take to get a website off the ground? What are the core ingredients you just can't do without?
It really just boils down to these 3, and honestly, the house analogy is perfect. HTML, that's your structure. It's the studs, the foundation, the doorways. CSS, that's all your style, the paint on the walls, the cool light fixtures, the furniture. And JavaScript, well, that's the electricity and the plumbing. It's the stuff that actually makes the house come alive and do things.
So, building a simple house with those 3 tools, totally doable. But what happens when you need to build a skyscraper? That's when you start to see the cracks in this basic approach, and things get messy.
See, as a website gets bigger and more complex, using just those basic tools leads to this monster that developers call spaghetti code. And it's exactly what it sounds like, a tangled, chaotic mess of code where everything is connected to everything else. It's a total nightmare to work with.
And this isn't just an annoying problem for the person writing the code. This tangled mess makes it incredibly hard to add new features. It makes fixing bugs a huge chore, and ultimately it leads to a slower, buggier website for you, the user. And that, of course, has a real impact on a company's bottom line.
So to clean up this spaghetti code mess, we needed a whole new way to think about building websites. And that's where React comes in. It's a library that was developed at Facebook, and it completely changed the game for building user interfaces.
Now, the big idea behind React, the secret sauce, is something called a component. The best way to think about it is like Lego blocks. You build one little piece, say a search bar or a button, and you make it perfect. Then you can just reuse that same Lego block over and over again anywhere on your site. And if you need to change it, you just change the original block, and it updates everywhere. It's so much cleaner.
Now, here's a really key distinction. React is technically a library, not a framework. Think of it like going to a restaurant. A library, like React, is the a la carte menu. You get the main dish, but you have to pick your own appetizers, drinks, and dessert from other places. A framework is like the full-course meal. Everything you need is included, all chosen for you. So React gives you a ton of flexibility, but it also means you have to make a lot more decisions.
So that flexibility with React, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's great to have choices, but it also leaves developers to solve a lot of the same common problems over and over again. And that's exactly where next.js comes in, to basically supercharge React. So, put simply, next.js is a framework that's built on top of React. It takes all the awesome power of React's component system and then bundles it with all the other stuff you need to build a modern, professional web application right out of the box. It gives you the full course meal. And this is a great look at what that full meal includes. Next.js handles all the boring but important stuff for you. Things like page routing, what happens when you click a link. It automatically optimizes everything to make your site load faster. And maybe most importantly, it gives you a huge boost in what's called search engine optimization, or SEO.
And that SEO point is absolutely critical for any business today. It's the whole science of making sure your website shows up when people search on Google, right? Better SEO means your site is easier to find, which means more visitors and hopefully more customers. It's a massive deal.
Next.js is absolutely obsessed with speed, and for a really good reason. We've all been there, right? A website takes more than, say, 3 seconds to load, and what do? You leave. You click the back button. That tells Google that your site gives a bad experience, which tanks your search ranking and can cost you real business.
So the crucial point here is that how fast your website loads isn't just a technical detail, it's a business one. Major companies have done studies that prove even tiny improvements, we're talking milliseconds, can lead to a noticeable jump in sales. Speed literally makes money.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
Let's zoom out for a second and see how all of these different layers stack up to create a modern website. This is basically how it all fits together. At the very bottom, you have the foundation that never goes away: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. On top of that, you have React, which lets us build our site with those reusable Lego block components. And then, at the very top, you have next.js, the framework that ties it all together and turns it into a powerful, professional-grade application.
And if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that this whole journey is a story of evolution. It's about problem solving. Spaghetti code was a huge problem, so React was invented to fix it. But then React's flexibility created a new set of challenges, so Next.js was built to solve those. Each new layer exists to fix the headaches of the past.
And you know, this constant cycle of innovation is what makes this field so exciting. It really makes you wonder, what are the problems we're facing today? What limitations do our current tools have? And what will the next.js look like? The only thing we know for sure is that the web is always changing.